Private Tommy Atkins of the 3rd Infantry Division crouches in his landing craft as it approaches Sword Beach on the morning of June 6, 1944. The channel crossing has been rough, most of his mates are seasick, and the German artillery is already finding their range. Through the spray and smoke, Atkins catches his first glimpse of the massive Allied armada spread across the Norman coast. But what strikes him most isn't the size of the fleet or the intensity of the bombardment. It's the sight of American troops landing simultaneously on beaches just a few miles away. Atkins has heard about the Americans, of course. Everyone in Britain has heard about the Yanks who've been flooding into the country for 2 years, filling up bases, crowding pubs, dating British girls. But seeing them in action, landing under fire alongside British forces, transforms abstract alliance into concrete reality. These aren't tourists or visitors anymore. These are soldiers fighting the same battle, facing the same dangers, pursuing the same objectives. The landing craft lurches as German shells bracket the approach. Atkins grips his rifle tighter, checks his equipment one more time, tries to calm his nerves. Around him, his section mates are doing the same. Veterans of North Africa and Italy, mixed with newcomers who've never heard a shot fired in anger. The mix of experience and inexperience, confidence and fear, determination and uncertainty that characterizes every assault force in every war. But today feels different from previous operations. Today, British forces aren't fighting alone or even primarily British battles. Today they're part of something larger, more complex, more ambitious than anything the British Army has attempted since the Great War. Today, they're fighting alongside allies who bring their own methods, their own equipment, their own approach to warfare. Sergeant Bill Henderson, a veteran of Dunkirk and El Alamein, watches the American landing craft heading toward Omaha Beach through his binoculars. Henderson has fought Germans in France, in the desert, in Italy. He understands warfare, knows what it takes to succeed in amphibious operations, recognizes the challenges that all assault forces face regardless of nationality. The Americans are going in hard, Henderson observes to his corporal. Look at those landing craft, they're packed tighter than sardines, and they're heading straight for the strongest German positions. Either they're very brave or they don't know what they're getting into. Henderson's observation reflects the mixture of admiration and concern that many British veterans feel watching American forces in their first major European operation. The Americans have enthusiasm, equipment, determination, but they lack the hard-won experience that British forces have gained through 4 years of fighting Germans in every theatre of war. The American approach to warfare differs fundamentally from British methods. British forces, shaped by years of fighting with limited resources against superior German forces, emphasize careful planning, methodical execution, conservation of manpower. American forces, backed by enormous industrial capacity and seemingly unlimited resources, emphasize aggressive action, overwhelming firepower, rapid exploitation of success. Neither approach is inherently superior, but the differences create challenges for coordination, cooperation, integration. British and American forces must learn to fight together despite different tactical doctrines, different organizational structures, different cultural approaches to military problems. Lance Corporal Charlie Davies, manning a Bren gun in his section, gets his first close look at American equipment as his landing craft passes an American LCI heading toward Utah Beach. The American soldiers are equipped differently from British forces. Different helmets, different uniforms, different weapons, different gear. But they're soldiers, clearly recognizable as such despite the equipment differences. "Blimey," Davies says to his loader, "look at all that kit they're carrying. Must weigh a ton. How do they expect to move fast with all that gear?" Davies' comment reflects British emphasis on mobility, speed, tactical flexibility. British infantry travel light, move fast, rely on skill and experience rather than equipment superiority. American infantry, by contrast, carry more equipment, more ammunition, more specialized gear. American doctrine emphasizes firepower, technological superiority, overwhelming force rather than tactical finesse. American soldiers are equipped for sustained combat, prolonged operations, extended campaigns. The difference in equipment reflects different national approaches to warfare. Britain, with limited industrial capacity and manpower, must use resources efficiently, emphasize quality over quantity, rely on superior training and experience. America, with enormous industrial capacity and large population, can afford to emphasize quantity, technological superiority, overwhelming force. Private Atkins landing craft beaches on Sword Beach at 0730 hours. German resistance is lighter than expected. The preliminary bombardment has been effective. German defenders are stunned or suppressed. Initial objectives seem achievable. Atkins and his section wade ashore, establish a beachhead, begin advancing inland according to plan. But even as British forces achieve their initial objectives, reports filter back from the American sectors. Omaha Beach is a bloodbath. American forces are pinned down on the beach, suffering enormous casualties, making little progress against determined German resistance. Utah Beach is going better, but American forces there face different challenges, different German defensive arrangements. The contrast highlights the complexity of D-Day operations. 5 separate beaches, each with different characteristics, different German defenses, different tactical challenges. British forces at Gold, Juno and Sword Beaches face one set of problems. American forces at Omaha and Utah Beaches face different problems entirely. Success on one beach doesn't guarantee success on others. Failure on one beach doesn't doom the entire operation. But coordination between beaches, mutual support between national forces, integration of separate operations into unified campaign requires unprecedented cooperation between allies with different military traditions. Major James Robertson, commanding a company of the East Yorkshire Regiment, watches American P-51 Mustangs providing air support for the landings. The aircraft are clearly American, different markings, different configurations, different tactical employment from RAF fighters, but they're attacking the same German positions, supporting the same Allied objectives, contributing to the same campaign. Good to see the Yanks pulling their weight in the air, Robertson tells his second-in-command. We've been carrying the air war for 4 years. About time they showed up in force. Robertson's comment reflects British pride in RAF achievements during the Battle of Britain, the Blitz, the bombing campaign against Germany. But Robertson also recognizes American contributions to Allied air superiority. American aircraft production provides the numbers that make massive air operations possible. American pilot training programs produce the aircrew that Allied air forces require. American technological innovation develops the aircraft that achieve superiority over German fighters. The integration of British experience with American resources creates air power capabilities that neither nation could achieve independently. British tactical expertise combined with American industrial capacity produces air superiority that proves decisive in the Normandy campaign. Corporal Fred Wilson, a veteran of the North African campaign, encounters his first American soldiers when British and American forces link up near Carrington several days after D-Day. The meeting is informal, accidental, brief. 2 patrols from different armies meeting in a Norman village that both sides are trying to secure. The Americans are young, Wilson observes, younger than British veterans who've been fighting since 1940. But they're well-equipped, well-trained, clearly competent soldiers. Their weapons are different. M1 Garands instead of Lee Enfields, Thompson submachine guns instead of Sten guns, different grenades, different equipment. But soldiers are soldiers regardless of nationality, Wilson realizes. These Americans face the same dangers, fight the same enemy, pursue the same objectives as British forces. The uniforms are different, the accents are different, the equipment is different, but the fundamental experience of combat remains the same. The American sergeant leading the patrol approaches Wilson's section with appropriate caution. Combat zones require careful identification, proper procedures, mutual recognition. Friendly fire incidents result from hasty assumptions, inadequate communication, insufficient coordination between Allied forces. "You boys British?" the American sergeant asks. Wilson confirms their identity, establishes their mission, coordinates their activities. The conversation is brief, professional, focused on immediate tactical requirements. But it represents something larger, the practical cooperation between allies that makes coalition warfare possible. Private Davies, now several days into the Normandy campaign, observes American artillery in action for the first time. The American guns are larger, more numerous, more powerful than British artillery. American fire missions are more extensive, more sustained, more overwhelming than British artillery support. "Christ," Davies says to his mate, "listen to that barrage. Sounds like the end of the world. The Yanks don't do anything by halves, do they?" Davies' observation reflects American approach to warfare: overwhelming firepower, massive resources, technological superiority applied to military problems. American artillery doctrine emphasizes concentration of fire, sustained bombardment, destruction of enemy positions through sheer volume of explosive. British artillery doctrine, shaped by resource limitations, emphasizes precision, efficiency, careful coordination with infantry operations. Neither approach is inherently superior, but the differences require coordination, integration, mutual understanding. British and American forces must learn to operate together despite different tactical methods, different resource allocations, different approaches to common problems. The American artillery barrage is followed by American infantry assault, supported by American tanks. The attack is direct, aggressive, sustained, classic American tactical doctrine applied to Norman terrain. British forces, observing from adjacent sectors, note the differences in American methods. "They go straight at the problem," Sergeant Henderson observes. "No subtlety, no finesse, just straight ahead with maximum force. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. But you have to admire their determination." Henderson's assessment reflects British appreciation for American courage, combined with British concern about American tactical sophistication. American forces have enthusiasm, resources, determination. But they sometimes lack the tactical flexibility that British forces have developed through years of fighting superior German forces with inferior resources. Captain Michael Thompson, commanding a rifle company, coordinates with American forces during the advance toward Cherbourg. The coordination requires careful planning, detailed communication, mutual understanding of capabilities and limitations. British and American forces must operate together despite different organizational structures, different tactical doctrines, different approaches to military problems. "The Americans are eager," Thompson tells his company sergeant major. "Perhaps too eager. They want to advance faster than the situation allows, attack stronger positions than wisdom suggests, achieve objectives that may be beyond their capabilities. But their enthusiasm is infectious, their confidence is encouraging, their determination is admirable." Thompson's observation captures the complexity of British attitudes toward American allies. Admiration for American resources and determination combined with concern about American inexperience and tactical methods. Appreciation for American contributions balanced by awareness of American limitations. The relationship between British and American forces evolves throughout the Normandy campaign. Initial skepticism gives way to mutual respect. Cultural differences are overcome by shared dangers. Tactical disagreements are resolved through practical cooperation. British and American forces learn to fight together effectively despite their differences. Private Atkins, now a veteran of several weeks of Norman fighting, reflects on his observations of American troops. "The Americans he's encountered are competent soldiers, well-equipped, well-trained, clearly committed to Allied victory. Their methods differ from British methods, their equipment differs from British equipment, their approach differs from British approach. But they're fighting the same war, facing the same enemy, pursuing the same objectives. The differences matter less than the similarities, the variations matter less than the common purpose." British and American forces are allies in the truest sense, different nations with different traditions working together toward common goals. The Americans bring resources that British forces lack, Atkins realizes: equipment, ammunition, supplies, reinforcements that make sustained operations possible. But British forces bring experience that American forces lack: knowledge of German tactics, understanding of European warfare, tactical sophistication developed through years of combat. The combination of British experience and American resources creates military capabilities that neither nation could achieve independently. British tactical expertise combined with American industrial capacity produces forces capable of defeating German armies that have dominated European warfare for 4 years. Sergeant Henderson, reflecting on weeks of cooperation with American forces, acknowledges the evolution in his own attitudes. Initial skepticism about American capabilities has been replaced by respect for American achievements. Concern about American methods has been balanced by appreciation for American contributions. The Yanks have learned fast, Henderson tells his section. They made mistakes at the beginning, but they've corrected them quickly. They listen to advice, adapt their methods, improve their performance. They're becoming proper soldiers, not just enthusiastic amateurs. Henderson's assessment reflects broader British recognition of American military development. American forces arrive in Europe with enthusiasm and resources, but limited experience. Through combat experience, cooperation with British allies, adaptation to European conditions, American forces develop the tactical sophistication that effective warfare requires. The process of military education occurs rapidly under combat conditions. American forces learn from their mistakes, adapt their methods, improve their performance through practical experience. British forces, initially skeptical of American capabilities, gradually recognize American achievements and contributions. Major Robertson, coordinating artillery support with American batteries, observes the integration of British and American firepower. American artillery provides the massive bombardments that suppress German resistance. British artillery provides the precise fire support that enables infantry advances. The combination proves more effective than either national approach independently. We complement each other, Robertson realizes. American firepower and British precision, American resources and British experience, American enthusiasm and British professionalism. Together, we're stronger than either of us could be separately. Robertson's observation captures the essence of successful coalition warfare. Different national approaches to military problems, when properly coordinated, create capabilities that exceed the sum of individual contributions. British and American forces, despite their differences, achieve together what neither could achieve alone. The Normandy campaign demonstrates the possibility of effective cooperation between allies with different military traditions. British and American forces learn to fight together, coordinate their operations, integrate their capabilities despite significant differences in doctrine, organization, and approach. Captain Thompson, reflecting on the campaign as Allied forces break out of the Normandy beachhead, considers the transformation in British attitudes toward American allies. Initial skepticism has been replaced by genuine respect. Cultural misunderstandings have been overcome by shared experiences. Tactical disagreements have been resolved through practical cooperation. The Americans have proven themselves, Thompson concludes. They've shown courage under fire, competence in combat, commitment to Allied victory. They've learned from their mistakes, adapted their methods, improved their performance. They've become reliable allies and effective soldiers. Thompson's assessment reflects broader British recognition of American military achievement. American forces, initially viewed with mixture of hope and skepticism, have demonstrated their capability to fight effectively alongside British forces in the most demanding combat conditions. What British troops said when they saw American troops at D-Day evolved throughout the campaign. Initial observations focused on differences, different equipment, different methods, different approaches to military problems. But as the campaign progressed, British observations increasingly emphasized similarities, shared dangers, common objectives, mutual commitment to Allied victory. Private Davies, now a veteran of the Normandy campaign, summarizes his observations of American allies. "The Yanks are all right," he tells his mates. "Different from us, but all right. They've got more kit than we do, more ammunition, more everything. But they're willing to share, willing to fight, willing to do their bit." Davies' assessment captures the practical British appreciation for American contributions. American resources, equipment and manpower provide capabilities that British forces need. American willingness to fight alongside British forces to shared dangers and objectives creates the foundation for effective alliance. Sergeant Henderson, reflecting on months of cooperation with American forces, acknowledges the success of Allied integration. British and American forces have learned to fight together effectively despite their differences. Cultural misunderstandings have been overcome. Tactical disagreements have been resolved. Operational coordination has been achieved. We've become a proper team, Henderson observes. British experience and American resources, British professionalism and American enthusiasm, British tactical knowledge and American firepower. Together, we're beating the Germans at their own game. Henderson's observation reflects the achievement of effective coalition warfare. British and American forces, despite significant differences in military tradition and approach, have created integrated capabilities that prove superior to German forces that have dominated European warfare for years. The success of British-American cooperation in Normandy establishes the pattern for continued alliance throughout the war. British and American forces learn to coordinate their operations, integrate their capabilities, pursue common objectives despite their differences. The alliance proves stronger than the sum of its parts. What British troops ultimately said about American troops at D-Day was that they were reliable allies, effective soldiers, valuable partners in the fight against Nazi Germany. Initial skepticism gave way to genuine respect. Cultural differences were overcome by shared experiences. Tactical disagreements were resolved through practical cooperation. The British recognition of American military capability reflects broader Allied success in creating effective coalition warfare. Different national approaches to military problems, when properly coordinated, create capabilities that exceed individual national achievements. British experience combined with American resources produces forces capable of defeating German armies that seemed invincible. Private Atkins, now a veteran of the European campaign, reflects on his initial observations of American troops at D-Day. The differences that seemed so significant at the beginning, different equipment, different methods, different approaches, matter less than the similarities that became apparent through shared combat experience. The Americans are soldiers like us, Atkins realizes. They face the same dangers, fight the same enemy, pursue the same objectives. Their uniforms are different, their accents are different, their methods are different, but their commitment to victory is the same as ours. Atkins' observation captures the essence of successful alliance. Despite significant differences in military tradition, cultural background, and tactical approach, British and American forces share fundamental commitment to defeating Nazi Germany. That shared commitment provides the foundation for effective cooperation, mutual respect, integrated operations. The transformation of British attitudes toward American allies reflects the success of coalition warfare in World War II. Initial skepticism based on cultural differences and tactical disagreements gives way to genuine respect based on shared combat experience and mutual achievement. British and American forces learn to fight together effectively, creating capabilities that prove decisive in the defeat of Nazi Germany. What British troops said when they saw American troops at D-Day ultimately reflected their recognition that effective alliance requires mutual respect, practical cooperation, shared commitment to common objectives. Despite their differences, British and American forces achieved the integration necessary for victory in the most demanding combat conditions of modern warfare.